these loyal customers, and somebody said make a dream board. I thought it was crazy, and then I'm like, no, I'm gonna make a dream board. So I got the girls together. I have 6 daughters, for those of you who didn't hear me before. We got together, they all printed off what they wanted on their dream board. Ooh. I was on fire. My first check was $841, my second was $1,200. We were on fire. My first 3 months, we crossed everything off the first dream board, but one. They were big stuff, big items. So, fast forward a year, and I'm still growing like crazy, and I get a call from my husband, and he said, you need to come home. The girls want to have a meeting with us. And I was like, a meeting? He goes, they're all in the great room. They want to talk to us. Some of you know this story, so you know it's hard for me. So I get home, and the girls are like crying, and I'm like, what's going on? And they said, we want our mom back. This is the hardest part that's ever happened to me in my business. And I was like, what do you mean? And they said, you're never home. You're always out with your new rat friends, and you're always doing parties, and you just, like, you're always gone. And we don't want you to go to St. Louis next week. Because we had a boot camp in St. Louis, and I was like, oh, no. My team was growing like crazy. We just signed like 15 people like in a week from the same area, and they were all gonna drive to St. Louis with us. And they were like, we want you to quit, it works. And I mean, like, dagger to my heart, because I was on a high of my life. I had more friends than I ever wanted, and I was loving my life, and I was like, okay, you guys. And to look your 6 kids in the eyes as they're crying, telling me this, it was heartbreaking, and I was like, okay, we don't make any decisions in this family without praying. So we're gonna pray about it, and we're gonna decide. And so Trent and I talked, and we decided we needed to go to St. Louis, and we would just keep praying about it. So we got in our cars, and I did not want to go, because I did not want to break their hearts anymore, but we told them, we're praying, and we're gonna wait for God to give us the answer. So we drove to St. Louis with my brand new team, Amanda Piper's team, Amanda, she's amazing. Drove to St. Louis, and the first night we were sitting there, it was a Friday night, and there was this teeny tiny timid girl, lady up on stage, and she was shaking, and white as a ghost. And she was trying to tell her story, and she was crying, and she literally looked right out at Trent and I, and she said, when God gives you a gift this big, you don't turn your back and you don't walk away. And he grabbed my hand, and I grabbed his, and we just cried, because we knew that was the sign. And so that was the first thing. And she said, God doesn't give you something like this for you to turn your back and walk away. You can't quit on him. Okay, so we were like, first sign. Everybody who knew what was going on was crying, and we were hugging, and so day 2 comes. And Cammie Dempsey gets on stage, our Black Diamond upline, and she sits on stage, and she's like, corporate, and she's like, I know this is not in the itinerary. I was praying, and I just felt compelled to share this. She said, we need to talk about balance and family life. And I was like, what? They had never talked about this at a corporate event ever. They never talked about balance. They never talked about family life and how to run your business with a family. And so she talked about how to put your phone away, how to shut your office door and go have family time, how to put all your kids' events in the calendar and then put your IWORKS events on your calendar. She talked about the importance of keeping your kids involved. I started out with them involved, and I started teaching them how to dream, and I got so wrapped up in making sure everything was happening, I forgot to take them with me and keep them included. So we got home, and we told them, that God had given us our answer to our prayers, and that we were just going to do things a little bit differently, and that because of them, we were so successful. Because of their understanding, because they helped with housework, because they helped put labels on brochures, and it was time to make the next dream board, because remember, that's how we got those dreams fulfilled, was how hard we worked. So it's the most fulfilling thing, teaching your kids how to dream, but you have to remember to take them with you as you're doing it. So I sat down at the computer, and I got this lady's name who shared my first message on Friday night, and she was actually in the restaurant that day, and I was shaking like a leaf. I couldn't even talk to her. I was so